at the end of the day, you always have the confusion about in certain places where the access road is cut off from the piece of land that I was gifted, given, bought. And so, understanding, especially if you want to go residential, you need to cut a road and have access to your land. You also need to make sure that that road does not cross or shouldn't cross any major water courses or disrupt any major water courses, because you will fall back into the environmental violations if that is the plan. You also have to understand that the plot of land needs to have its own registration with WASA, because if it does not have its own registration with WASA, then let's say, especially if it was a plot broken off from another plot, you can end up with a situation where WASA understands the land as one big 13 plot and not 13 individual plots, just to use Mr. Buckmeyer's example. And therefore, the water source will stop at a point. So, all of these are consultations that you should have with a surveyor and engineer, somebody who understands how to develop lands. Even, and this goes even, I would have worked with the HTC, and even to get access to water for an HTC plot of 150 homes, we had to go through hoops with WASA and understand and walk through the process with WASA to be able to get access to that. And same thing with TNTech, and to be able to get those utilities to the particular plot, whether it's for agricultural purposes or especially residential. So it's important to sit with somebody who understands that system, or important to get that survey done. And it's also important, even yes, it's important for the approvals, but also for your own knowledge. How would you like to use, or a map or a plan or a drawing of how you would like to use the land?
Ms. Daniel, are you there?
Me? Hello, hello.
Yes.
My camera on?
Here.
You hear me now? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good, yeah. I noticed that you wanted to say something when Mr. Paul mentioned about WASA, which I think is a real excellent point to bring up, because oftentimes when we're talking about subdivision, you have a larger portion or a larger parcel that you would have excised, right? As the word we use in law, which means just cut out, right? And when you have excised smaller parcels, Mr. Paul would have referenced the 13-acre analogy or example there. WASA has assessment numbers attached to each parcel that has water. And oftentimes what happens is if you do not do a proper subdivision to get each excise parcel their own title, they will not have their own assessment numbers and or be able to get approvals for water. Is that correct, Mr. DeCosta?
To some extent, yeah.
With the assessment I'm talking about, have you what difficulties have you seen persons come into with that issue there?
Well, I never really came across a person or a client having that issue really, right?
Okay,
Because you see the way it works, right? Now I understand what Mr. Casey has explained, but you see this is the reason. This is the reasons why there's a procedure, right, that governs all of that. And the procedure is you hire a land surveyor, which
Right.
is very important, right?
Right.
He really and truly is the key personnel there, not even me, right?
Right.
Because I only come on the scene, right? After that entire process is complete and the
Right.
land is and the property is ready for construction, and you
Right.
need an architect to start designs. There's
Right.
where I there's where I come in, right? But really and truly, the land surveyor, as Mr. McCasey
Mr. Ford.
rightfully said, he really plays
Mhm.
a key role in the to initiate the beginning and begin the process. So he will come in and he would advise the client, right, accordingly to the terms and conditions set out in the regulations by town. He would be fully aware of the regulations set out by town country. So he would
Right.
guide the client according to his expertise and his knowledge of the
Right.
standards set back by town country, and he will subdivide, right, with those guidelines in mind, right?
Right. So that's your
Now,
proposed plans for
that is a
subdivision.
proposed plan, yes.
Right.
Now, that proposed plan, you see what happened, what many people does, because of cost, to save cost or whatever
Yes.
the reason. There are people that hires he does a nice, beautiful layout. He shows
Mhm.
road, he shows this,
Mhm.
beautiful, right? And he don't bother to
To
send it
see.
for approval by a town
Yeah.
country. He doesn't bother with that, right?
Yes.
And the client may not know better. He
Mhm.
will see this beautiful cadastral survey plan that his surveyor would have done, and he will get very excited, right? And and when he tries now to have when he calls in his architect now to start design drawings based on that cadastral that his land surveyor would have done that was never approved,
Hmm.
right? Then he realized that he run into problems, because I have met many clients like that, whereby
Yes.
they actually produce a cadastral plan or a survey plan for the property, right?
Mhm.
So I would be of the assumption that this survey plan have been approved, right?
Right.
And I would have done a beautiful design for his property, and I was sending fill out all the forms, submitted to town country. Town country would write me back and tell me approval is rejected
Yes.
because the parcel of land form part of a larger parcel.
Yes.
Therefore, before they could consider this beautiful design, right, that Mr. Da Costa has done, before they could consider that, they
Yes.
have to get
Yeah.
the subdivision that was done
Approved.
approved by us first
Correct.
and utmost,
Yes.
before they could go further to approve drawings for a residential house. Yeah, that
Excellent.
I have came across that on numerous occasions,
And
right?
so have I, Mr. DeCosta. So have I. And I realize that's why we're passionate about this point, because it's getting clients time and again with these issues and these things happening. The survey plan looks very nice on paper. Some of these persons don't even bother to go to the lands, they just draw. What I have also seen is these proposed plans coming to us for us to do the title change, and we cannot do title subdivision and cutting up of lands legally without the approval of subdivision if the lands are under the RPO. It is impossible. I want to
Correct.
reiterate that. It is impossible for us to give you title documents or legal documents for subdivision. You need approval.